So we'll be discussing the section A of science paper today. It will be having 20 questions in this one. Each will be of 1 mark, 20 questions of 1 mark each. They will be of MCQ type, and you have to choose the correct option from the given options. Now, let us start with this question number 1. Question number 1 is 10 ml of solution of sodium hydroxide found to be completely neutralized by 8 ml of solution of HCl, that is hydrochloric acid. So information is 10 ml sodium hydroxide. It is completely neutralized by 8 milliliter of hydrochloric acid. If we take 20 ml of the same solution of sodium hydroxide, how much HCl will be required? So these type of questions, because this is a proven fact, they are already given that 10 ml of sodium hydroxide is neutralized by using 8 milliliter of the hydrochloric acid. So simply in which ratio you are either increasing or decreasing this amount, you have to increase or decrease the amount of the acid in the same ratio. So by going this one, you will be requiring 16 milliliter of hydrochloric acid. So what option is correct here? D option. Now question number 2. What happens when dilute hydrochloric acid is added to iron fillings? That means the reaction between iron and hydrochloric acid. So as we discussed in the earlier session, the chemical reactions are very important while attempting this section. So if you remember that reaction, that is iron, it's in a solid state, plus you have hydrochloric acid, this is dilute, and this gives us FeCl2 aqueous plus H2 gas. Now let us check whether it is balanced. Okay, put 2 here. So if you remember this reaction, then easily you can answer this question, and the option A says that hydrogen gas and iron chloride are produced. So for the second question, the option A is correct. Now question number 3. barium chloride and ammonium sulfate. So again, the question is based on the chemical reaction. So we'll first write down the chemical equation for this. This is barium chloride, BaCl2. This we are taking aqueous plus NH4 by 2SO4. This is also we are taking aqueous. This gives me BaSO4 plus NH4Cl aqueous. So this should be twice for balancing. So if you are able to remember this reaction, you can easily answer this question. Barium chloride on reacting with ammonium sulfate forms barium sulfate and ammonium chloride. Which of the following correctly represent the type of the reaction? Displacement, combination, precipitation, double displacement. The third one is D option is correct, which is second and fourth option. Second is precipitation, fourth is double displacement. These are both the type of reactions are represented by this. So in question 3, option D is correct. Now the question number 4. In such kind of question, they will give you a table where the different reactions or some examples of bases and acids, their neutralization are given, and then you have to choose the correct answer. They can be of various types, so this we can discuss separately. Now the question number 5. This question generally is on the reactivity series of metals. So some metals are given to you like Zn, Fe, then you have Mg and K. Generally, the options are either increasing reactivity of the metals or decreasing reactivity of the metals. So if they are not in that order, so you should be able to recognize them according to the reactivity series. And according to reactivity series, what is the pattern here? Is this group Fe is this reactive? After that comes zinc, followed by magnesium and potassium. So this is in increasing order. In options, they may give it in a decreasing order also. So if you know the correct pattern, then you will be able to easily answer these type of questions. So in this one, the correct one, in paper number 3, the correct option for fifth question is D. Now you can go to the question number 6. Now in some questions they will provide you a chemical reaction, like in this case CH3CH2OH, and you have alkaline KMnO4 here, and also you are providing heat. It will result in the formation of acid. So this reaction is given, and the question is, what is the role of alkaline KMnO4 in this reaction? So here you can easily observe that KMnO4 is supplying oxygen. So the supplier of the oxygen is known as supplier of the oxygen, we call it as oxidizing agent. And oxidizing agent is the option here, B for this one. And in question number 7, okay, this will again will be on the basis of the chemical reactions. In this question, acetic acid is added to solid X. That means you have acetic acid and some X material, it is added to that. A colorless and odorless gas was evolved. So this is a characteristic. After this reaction, a colorless and odorless gas was evolved. It's very important to read and understand the instructions and the information given in the question. So now acetic acid reacts with X, produces colorless and odorless gas. The gas was passed through lime water, which turned milky. So turning the lime water milky, that confirms that this gas is CO2. Now producing CO2 basically indicates that this X should be a carbonate or a bicarbonate. Then only it is possible that it is going to evolve carbon dioxide. So we can go to the options now. A, solid X sodium hydroxide, leave it aside. B, solid X is sodium bicarbonate, okay, is correct. Then C, solid X is sodium acetate, not possible. D, solid X is sodium chloride, not possible. So in this case, for question number 7, The option B is correct. Then we can go to question number 8. There are some statements made relating to single-celled organisms. You already know some of the examples of single-celled organisms like amoeba. And you have to choose the correct statements out of these four. The first is complex substances are not broken down into simpler substances. Simple diffusion is sufficient to meet the requirement of exchange of gases. Specialized tissues perform different functions in the organism. Entire surface of the organism is in contact with the environment for taking in food. So out of these four, we have to choose the correct statements. So second and fourth is correct. Option C is correct for this. What is second and fourth? I will read again. Simple diffusion is sufficient to meet the requirement of exchange of gases. And fourth, the entire surface of the organism is in contact with the environment for taking in food. So I think this you have already studied in the case of amoeba. In the chapter life processes, you already studied about nutrition in amoeba. There we know that pseudopodia engulf that food, and single cell takes care of its digestion and excretion also. Now question number 9. In a synapse, chemical signal is transmitted from synapse is the very small gap between the two subsequent neurons. So the chemical signal is transmitted from which part? That is the question. A option is dendrite end of one neuron to axonal end of another neuron. This is not possible because we know the dendrites are to receive the signals, not to transmit. B, or axon to cell body of the same neuron. Synapse is not concerned with single neuron. C, cell body to axonal end of the same neuron. So B and C options, we can leave them. Now what is D? Axonal end of the neuron to dendrite end of the another neuron. So D option is correct. Now question number 10. Offspring formed by asexual method of reproduction have greater similarity among themselves because. Option A, this kind of reproduction involves only one parent. This kind of reproduction does not involve gametes. Third statement rather, they had given four statements. Third statement, this reproduction occurs before sexual reproduction. And fourth, asexual reproduction occurs after sexual reproduction. We have to choose a correct reasons for this. So here A option is correct, and A option is about first and second statement. First is asexual reproduction involves only one parent, and then the second is asexual reproduction does not involve gametes. So these two are correct about this kind of reproduction. Now in question number 11, you have to be careful about these kind of questions specifically. In question number 11, a schematic information is given to you. Like you have a liver, then here it is a kidney, certain flows are shown here. This is C, this is D, same way. Here it is A, and here it is B. Now question about this is, the diagram represents the liver, kidney and some associated blood vessels. Identify the vessel from the labeled parts A to D. In which of the blood vessel there will be lowest concentration of urea? So you already know kidney has the role of filtering the blood and getting rid of urea. So this part is basically responsible for removal of urea from the blood. No other part in our body is responsible for this kind of filtration. So this C vessel will be having the lowest percentage of urea. And the option C is correct for this one. then you will get one question on that hereditary part. So question number 12. In this question you have two pea plants. One has round green seeds, that is capital R, small y, small y. These are having round and green. And another small r, and capital Y type of pea plant. This has wrinkled yellow. So these two type of plants you have. And these produce F1 progeny that have round yellow. Then we go to the next progeny, F1. What it has now? Round yellow. That means capital R, capital Y, small y. So this is representing round yellow. And when we go to the F2 after their next generation, they are self with each other for F1. So we have to say about what kind of plants we are going to get in F2 generation now. Round yellow, round green, wrinkled yellow, wrinkled green, or the combination of these. So for this one, all the options are given, so B option is correct. And B option is about first and fourth combination. First and fourth combination, these two. So we can see now what is this B option is. Round yellow and wrinkled green. This is the combination of these two. This is question number 11. Then question number 12. This question is about electricity. And that is about stabilizers. You might have seen stabilizers which are installed in houses like where you use air conditioners, then your refrigerators. There you can find these stabilizers. The question is, this is 13th basically, not 12th. Question number 13. Stabilizers are used to protect electrical devices from. What is their use? A option, short circuit. B, overloading. C, over voltage. D, induced current. So option C is correct. Stabilizers are used to protect the electrical devices from over voltage. Then question number 14 is also from electricity. Two conducting wires of the same material and of equal length and equal diameter are first connected in series and then in parallel in a circuit across the same potential difference. The ratio of heat produced in series and parallel combination would be. So we have to find that ratio. Let us take that they have the resistance R. Each have resistance R. So what will happen in series? Resistance in series will be R plus R, that will be twice of R ohm. And we also know that the heat produced in series, for example, will be given by square of voltage upon resistance. Similar way, we can calculate the resistance in parallel. Resistance in parallel will be 1 by R plus 1 by R, that is 2 by R, and the resultant resistance in parallel will be R by 2 ohm. So the heat produced in parallel combination will be given by V square upon R by 2. So I have to find these two ratios between this and this. So the ratio of heat produced in series to that of the heat produced in parallel will be V square upon 2R into R upon 2V square. This just denominator becomes the numerator by that law. So here R, V square, they are cancelled and it is 1 by 4. So it will be 1 ratio 4 will be the ratio. So in question number 14, what is that option? 1 by 4 is C option. Now the question numbers 15 and 16. They will be either the concept of electricity or about that magnetic induction. So there will be certain arrangements of the ammeter, resistance, sometimes voltmeter, they are given to you, or something about a circular loop like the solenoid, that diagram or the questions related to them will be asked into this one. So for this purpose, you have to learn to understand the circuit diagrams very carefully, and how the readings of the ammeter, voltmeter, they are affected by the addition of the resistance or increasing the voltage or current, that you have to understand. Now in science paper you will have four questions, that is 17, 18, 19 and 20. There will be assertion and reasoning type. So let us start with the 17 first. The assertion here is, in electrolysis of water, volume of hydrogen is twice the volume of oxygen. So this is the assertion and this is correct. Reason is hydrogen gas is liberated at cathode and O2 at anode. This is the reason. So for 17, B option will be correct. Where we say that both are correct, but R is not the correct explanation of A. Now the 18th one. Hemoglobin is the respiratory pigment in human beings, and reason is it transports oxygen in the human body. So for 18th, A option will be correct. Why this is so? Because hemoglobin is responsible for transporting oxygen in our body. That is a respiratory pigment. And why respiratory pigment? Because it carries oxygen. Oxygen is necessary for carrying out respiration in human body. So assertion, reason, both are correct, and the reason is the correct explanation. Now the 19th one. Dominant traits express itself with or without the presence of recessive trait. And reason, recessive trait can express itself only in absence of the dominant trait. So for 19th, B option will be correct. That means both are correct, but the reason is not correctly explaining the assertion. Okay, now the last question, that is 20th. Assertion is earth wire should be of green insulation. Reason, main fuse is not connected with the neutral wire. So for 20, option C is correct. Here we can see that assertion is true, but R is false. Why it is false? Because main fuse is always connected to live wire. Okay. Now we can go to the section B of this. Prior to that, But I left was question number 15 and 16. Okay, we'll first talk of question number 15. Here, three circuit diagrams are given. The first one is having a key here, then a resistance R is connected to this. It's going back to ammeter, and it is connected to a battery. This is positive, negative. This is positive, negative, and current is flowing in this direction. This is the first arrangement. Now the second arrangement is again key, ammeter is connected. In this case, the key is shifted here. Okay, the key is shifted here, and then the resistance are, these are the same value R. This is positive, negative, this is key, and the current is flowing through it. Remember? हाँ, मैं 71 में 1:30 तक आऊँगा. हाँ चलिए जो कोई बात नहीं, मैं 1:30 पहुँच पाऊँगा. हाँ मैं फोन कर लूँगा जैसे फ्री होगा. ठीक है. Now you can have this one second arrangement. Then the third one. Third one is resistance here. Again the same value. Then you have a key. Then the battery here. And now the ammeter is shifted to this side, positive, negative. Now this kind of three arrangements are given to us, and the question is the current recorded in the ammeter will be maximum in which case, or the D option is the same in all the cases. So the reading of the ammeter is generally affected by two factors. We know Ohm's law. Ohm's law is R is given by V upon I. That means, and we can say I, that is the reading of the ammeter, is V upon R. So we have two factors here. One is the voltage and second is the resistance of the circuit, which can affect the reading of ammeter. We can't see anything in these three circuit diagrams out of these two factors. Any of that one is affected or changed. We see that resistance is same in all three cases. Then the battery has the same voltage. Anyhow, the other conditions, Ohm's law also says that the other physical conditions, they remain the constant. Then only that law holds good. So in this case, the option D will be correct, and the ammeter will be having the same reading in all of these three circuits. Similarly, the other question I left was question number 16. So in question number 16, this deals with the magnetic effect. So a circular loop placed in a plane perpendicular to the plane of paper carries a current when the key is on. The current as seen from point A and B in the plane of the paper and on the axis of the coil is anti-clockwise and clockwise respectively. At point A it is clockwise, that means this direction. At point B it is anti-clockwise, this is anti-clockwise, and this is clockwise. The magnetic field lines from B to A, the north pole of the resultant magnet is on the face close to. First option is A, second option is B, C option is A if the current is small, B if the current is large, and D option is B if the current is small and A if the current is large. So for 16th, the correct option is A. If you study about that structure, the loop of the electric current, one is the rule given by straight current carrying conductor, if you remember. That is right hand rule for the straight current carrying conductor. So we can arrange our this hand, right hand, straight. Okay. So are you able to see this? And I adjust my thumb in the direction of current. So the other four fingers, in which direction they move, clockwise or anti-clockwise, that will be the direction of the magnetic field. So in this case, if I talk of this line, so my fingers are moving to anti-clockwise direction, and in this one, what I observe, these four fingers, they can be folded towards the clockwise direction. Now, if you compare this one to this loop, this situation for point A corresponds to this. Okay. And another situation at point B, that corresponds to this situation. Magnetic field lines emerge out of North Pole and enter into the South Pole. This rule we know. So the clockwise magnetic field lines, they represent B to A. Then the North Pole of the resultant magnet is on the face close to A. Right. So A option is correct. Or in the case of solenoid, solenoids you might have aware of, like circular loops, and this current is entering from this side and leaving this side. You might have drawn this kind of solenoid, or you can refer to your book for this one. And another diagram is there in NCERT book that is very important for answering such kind of questions, where they have made a loop like this. Then they have taken 2 points here like A, this is B, and if the current is flowing like this. So what will happen in this case? The current is going this side, so it will be, magnetic field will be in this direction, but when the current coming back downward, then the direction of the magnetic field lines will change. So these kind of situations always you have to remember. Specifically when you are answering the question related to magnetic induction. The another section which starts from question number 21 to 26. They are of 2 mark type of questions. In this one, a question is there that assume you are a veterinary surgeon and you removed a good length of small intestine of a bear that was suffering from an intestinal tumor. Now, would you suggest a plant-based or meat-based diet for the bear after its recovery? Give reasons for your answer. So, for answering such kind of questions, we already know that the carnivores, they require a small length of intestine because their food is somewhat easier to digest. It takes less time for digestion. Whereas if you talk of herbivores, they require longer small intestine or longer intestines, you can say, because their food takes a longer time for getting simplified. So whenever you go through your chapters, just keep in mind these kind of things to answer this section and the another section also, that is your section B, which is of 2 marks. So we will be discussing 2 marks and 3 marks questions in the next session. Okay.